Hello students, welcome to the lecture on critical evaluation of idealism. The primary objectives of today's lecture are to introduce the concept of Western idealism, to provide an overview of German idealism, to examine T.H. Green and his idealism, and to conduct a critical evaluation of idealism with a special focus on Kant, Hegel and Green. Dear students, Western idealism is a philosophical concept that has had a significant impact on the development of Western thought. It is a complex and multifaceted concept that has been explored by many philosophers throughout history. It is a philosophical approach that posits the ultimate reality as non-materialistic in nature, that is, the realm of ideas. According to idealists, ideas are the most fundamental elements that make up the fabric of reality. The aim of this essay is to critically evaluate the concept of idealism in Western philosophy and its applicability to the contemporary world. Idealism was first introduced in the ancient philosophy of Plato. According to Plato, the ultimate reality is the forms, that is, the eternal, immutable, eternal ideas of things that transcend the physical world. Idealism suggests that reality cannot be understood in its physical form alone, but through the mind's perception. Thus, the physical world is a mere reflection of the non-physical world, and the ultimate truth lies in one's knowledge of the non-physical world. The fundamental tenet of idealism is that ideas are the foundation of reality in both the physical world and beyond it. Idealism has been influential in various areas, including metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and aesthetics. It has been expressed in different forms throughout history, such as subjective idealism, objective idealism, transcendental idealism, and absolute idealism. Each of these variations places different emphasis on the relationship between the mind and the external world, and they offer different interpretations of the nature of reality. The idealist tradition has played a significant role in shaping Western philosophy and has influenced various fields of study. From Plato's foundational ideas to the emergence of British idealism, this tradition has evolved over time and continues to inspire philosophical inquiry and debate. By emphasizing the importance of ideas, concepts, and abstract principles, the idealist tradition challenges us to think deeply about the nature of reality, knowledge, and human experience. Within Western philosophy, idealist tradition encompasses a diverse range of philosophical perspectives that emphasize the significance of ideas, concepts, and abstract principles in comprehending the nature of reality, knowledge, and human experience. This tradition has had a profound impact on various fields, including metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and aesthetics. Some of the key figures and schools of thought within the idealist tradition include Plato, an ancient Greek philosopher. Plato is considered one of the foundational figures of Western idealism. Neoplatonism, a philosophical and mystical movement that emerged in the 3rd century AD. Neoplatonism built upon Plato's ideas. German idealism. In the late 18th and early 19th centuries, German philosophers such as Immanuel Kant, Johann Gottlieb Fichte, Schelling, and Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel developed a distinct form of idealism. Transcendental idealism. Developed by Kant, transcendental idealism posits that knowledge is shaped by the interaction between the mind and the external world. Absolute idealism. Hegel's philosophy of absolute idealism argues that reality is fundamentally spiritual or mental in nature. He posits that the existence of a universal mind or spirit, the absolute, which unfolds and progresses through a dialectical process of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. British idealism. British idealism emerged in the 19th and early 20th centuries with notable philosophers such as F.H. Bradley, T.H. Green, and Bernard Bosanquet. These are just a few examples within the rich and diverse idealist tradition in Western philosophy. Idealist thinkers have contributed significantly to our understanding of metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and aesthetics, and their ideas continue to shape philosophical discourse to this day. Overall, idealism emphasizes the power of human consciousness, ideas, and values in shaping our understanding of the world and our place within it. It contrasts with materialism, which asserts that the physical world is the primary reality and that consciousness and ideas are secondary or emergent phenomena. Dear students, let us now discuss German idealism. German idealism refers to a philosophical movement that emerged in Germany in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. It was primarily developed by 3 prominent philosophers: Kant, Fichte, and Hegel. German idealism sought to address fundamental questions about knowledge, reality, and the nature of human experience. German idealism has been a significant contributor to the development of Western idealism. It emerged in the late 18th century and was characterized by a focus on the subjective experience of the individual. German idealism was a reaction to the Enlightenment and its emphasis on reason and objectivity. Instead, German idealism emphasized the importance of the individual's subjective experience and the role of the imagination in shaping our understanding of the world. At its core, German idealism is characterized by the emphasis on the mind or consciousness as the foundation of all reality. It posits that the world we perceive is shaped and constructed by our own cognitive processes. According to German idealism, reality is not independent of the mind, but rather arises through the mind's activity. Immanuel Kant, often considered the precursor to German idealism, introduced the idea of transcendental idealism. He argued that our knowledge is not a direct representation of the external world, but rather a synthesis of sensory experience and innate mental structures. Kant emphasized the role of the subject in shaping reality and understanding. Johann Gottlieb Fichte expanded on Kant's ideas and developed a philosophy known as subjective idealism. Fichte claimed that the entire external world is a product of the subject's consciousness. He posited that the self creates reality through an ongoing process of self-awareness and self-positing. Georg Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel further developed German idealism, proposing a system of absolute idealism. Hegel viewed reality as an evolving, dynamic process of self-realization. He believed that contradictions and conflicts drive the development of knowledge and society, culminating in a state of absolute knowledge or absolute spirit. Hegel's contributions to philosophy have been significant and far-reaching. His logical starting point and teleological account of history have influenced many subsequent philosophers, while his political and social philosophy and theological views continue to be studied and debated. Despite the decline of German idealism, Hegel's legacy endures and his ideas remain relevant to contemporary philosophical discourse. German idealism had a significant influence on various fields, including philosophy, politics, and aesthetics. It provided a foundation for the exploration of topics such as freedom, morality, history, and the nature of art. Many subsequent philosophical movements, including existentialism and phenomenology, were influenced by German idealism. Overall, German idealism represents a rich and complex philosophical tradition that sought to reconcile the relationship between the mind and the external world, emphasizing the active role of consciousness in shaping reality. Dear students, let us now look at T.H. Green's idealism. T.H. Green, also known as Thomas Hill Green, was a British philosopher and one of the most prominent figures in the school of philosophical thought known as British idealism. Green's idealism can be understood in the context of his broader philosophical framework, which emphasized the importance of moral and political philosophy in understanding human society. Green rejected the dualism between mind and matter that was prevalent in earlier philosophies. He argued that reality is fundamentally spiritual in nature and that the physical world is a manifestation of the underlying spiritual reality. For Green, the ultimate reality is the realm of eternal consciousness, and the physical world is a product of this eternal consciousness. Green's idealism had a strong ethical dimension. He believed that the highest good is the realization of individual self-development and the common good of society. According to Green, individuals have a moral duty to contribute to the well-being of the community, and the state has a role in promoting the conditions necessary for individual self-realization. Green also emphasized the importance of freedom in his philosophy. He argued that true freedom is not simply the absence of external constraints, but the ability to fulfill one's true potential as a rational and moral being. Green believed that the state should play a role in ensuring this freedom by providing education and social support to enable individuals to develop their capacities fully. In terms of political philosophy, Green advocated for a form of liberal socialism. He believed that the state should intervene in the economy to ensure social justice and mitigate the inequalities of wealth and power. Green argued for a more egalitarian society and criticized the excesses of capitalism, which he saw as detrimental to the common good. Overall, Green's idealism can be characterized as a holistic philosophy that sought to reconcile the spiritual and the material, the individual and the collective, and the ethical and political dimensions of human existence. His ideas had a significant influence on subsequent philosophical and political thought, particularly within the British idealist tradition. Let us now do a critical appraisal of idealism. Idealism, as a philosophical and political ideology, has garnered both support and criticism over the years. While idealism can be seen as a positive force in promoting values such as justice, equality, and moral integrity, it also faces several critiques that question its practicality and potential pitfalls. One of the main criticisms of idealism is its perceived detachment from reality. Idealism often emphasizes the pursuit of abstract ideals and principles without fully considering the practical constraints and complexities of the real world. Critics argue that this detachment can lead to impractical policies and unrealistic expectations, as idealistic visions may not align with the practicalities of implementation or the realities of human nature. Furthermore, idealism can be criticized for its potential to disregard or downplay the importance of power dynamics and self-interest in human interactions. Idealistic theories often assume that individuals and nations will act based on altruistic motives and prioritize the common good. However, human behavior is often influenced by self-interest, competition, and the pursuit of power. Ignoring these factors can lead to misguided assumptions about how societies and international relations actually function. Critics also argue that idealism can be susceptible to oversimplification and lack nuance in its understanding of complex issues. Idealistic approaches often propose sweeping solutions to intricate problems, disregarding the multifaceted nature of social, economic, and political challenges. This oversimplification can lead to incomplete or ineffective strategies when addressing real-world problems. Moreover, idealism may face challenges in achieving practical results due to the inherent diversity of human values and beliefs. What may be considered an ideal outcome for one person or group may differ significantly from another's perspective. Resolving these value conflicts and reaching consensus can be extremely challenging, and idealistic approaches may struggle to address these divergent viewpoints adequately. Another critique of idealism is its potential to dismiss or undervalue the importance of realism and practicality. Critics argue that while it is essential to have lofty goals and ideals, it is equally important to consider the practical steps required to achieve them. Neglecting pragmatic considerations can lead to a lack of concrete action and limited progress towards desired outcomes. Finally, idealism can sometimes be accused of being overly utopian and disconnected from the realities of power dynamics and human fallibility. Critics argue that history has shown that attempts to impose idealistic visions without considering the complexities of power and human nature can lead to unintended consequences such as social upheaval, authoritarianism, or the erosion of individual freedoms. Dear students, let us now do critical assessment of Kant, Hegel, and Green's idealism. The idealism of philosophers such as Hegel, Green, and Kant has made significant contributions to philosophy and has influenced a wide range of fields. However, their ideas also face critical evaluation and have drawn some notable critiques. Hegel's idealism is a complex philosophical system that seeks to understand reality as a dynamic process of dialectical development. Hegel argues that the world is ultimately a manifestation of a divine spirit unfolding through history. One criticism of Hegel's idealism is its perceived difficulty and obscurity. Hegel's dense writing style and intricate concepts can make his philosophy challenging to grasp, leading to interpretations that vary among scholars. This complexity has also contributed to the development of different schools of thought within the interpretation of Hegelian philosophy, leading to debates about its true meaning and implications. Another critique of Hegelian idealism concerns its teleological nature. Hegel's system suggests a predetermined and progressive unfolding of history toward an ultimate goal or end point. Critics argue that this teleological approach may overlook the contingency, unpredictability, and the potential for multiple outcomes in historical events. Additionally, some argue that Hegel's teleology may imply an Eurocentric perspective, as it assumes that European history represents the pinnacle of historical development. T.H. Green, a prominent figure in British idealism, emphasized the importance of social and political institutions in achieving individual freedom and the common good. Green's idealism sought to reconcile individual rights with social responsibility. One critique of Green's idealism is that it can be seen as overly statist or collectivist. Critics argue that his focus on the state as the primary agent for the realization of ethical values and the common good may neglect the importance of individual autonomy and non-state actors in promoting social progress and addressing social issues. Immanuel Kant's transcendental idealism presents a framework that emphasizes the role of the mind in shaping our experience of reality. Kant argues that we have access only to the phenomena, that is, the appearances of things, and not to the noumena, that is, their true essence. One criticism of Kantian idealism is its limited scope. Critics argue that by positing the unknowability of the noumenal realm, Kant's philosophy restricts our understanding of reality and leaves important questions unanswered. Furthermore, some argue that Kant's rigid distinction between the noumenal and phenomenal realms can lead to a dualistic worldview that is difficult to reconcile with a holistic understanding of the world. Additionally, Kant's idealism has faced criticism for its universalist perspective. Critics argue that Kant's emphasis on rationality and universal principles may overlook the diversity of cultural perspectives and moral values across different societies. This critique questions the potential Eurocentrism inherent in Kant's universal claims, as they may not adequately account for cultural relativism and the importance of context in ethical considerations. While the idealism of Hegel, Green, and Kant has made significant contributions to philosophy, their ideas are not without criticism. The complexity and interpretive challenges of Hegelian philosophy, the teleological nature of Hegel's system, the potential statism of Green's idealism, the limited scope of Kantian idealism, and the universalist perspective in Kant's moral philosophy are all areas that have drawn critical evaluation. These critiques contribute to ongoing debates and discussions within the philosophical community regarding the strengths, limitations, and implications of these influential idealistic philosophies. To conclude, idealism is a prominent and influential school of philosophy in the Western tradition. Throughout history, numerous prominent philosophers have explored the concept of idealism, each sharing the belief that reality is ultimately mental or spiritual in nature. While idealism inspires positive values and goals, it is not immune to criticism. Valid concerns regarding idealism include its perceived detachment from reality, potential disregard for power dynamics, oversimplification of complex issues, and challenges in reconciling diverse values and beliefs. Therefore, it is crucial to strike a balance between idealism and pragmatism, ensuring that idealistic visions are grounded in a realistic understanding of the world and accompanied by practical strategies for implementation. Despite its criticisms, idealism has much to offer to modern society. It presents a grand philosophical outlook that is unique and engages different schools of thought in deep thought. The philosophy aims to enliven the imagination of individuals as they rethink their place in the world and how they can make it better. It has a lasting significance and a universal appeal that transcends cultural and historical barriers. Idealism has stimulated human reasoning and reflection on various issues including ethics, politics, aesthetics, and metaphysics. It is undeniable that idealism has played a crucial role in Western philosophy. The approach which posits that ideas are the foundation of reality has had a lasting impact on the way human beings understand themselves and the world they inhabit. Despite its weaknesses, idealism can still lead to a more enlightened view of the world, and its concepts can be made concrete with patience and commitment. With that, I would like to conclude today's topic. I am sure you found it engaging and enlightening. I look forward to our next meeting where we will discuss a new topic. Until then, goodbye and all the best.